Hey, what's up? Singano here, talking about figuring out my life in my 30s. So, this channel is dedicated to my journey to do this, and there'll be discussion on career, relationships, everything in between. Basically, the things I'm learning as I want to get to a better place in these different aspects of my life. So, yeah, I hope you learn something, I learned something along the process, and yeah, have that knowledge sharing happening. But for today's little video, I wanted to discuss transitioning careers because I have now done it 2 different times on my third job. So in my last video, I discussed how I majored in accounting when I didn't want to, and I've been able to navigate my career since then. So just to give you a little background of what that looks like, when I graduated from accounting, I started off as an auditor at one of the big four firms. You can imagine what audit meant and what that looked like, excuse me. So yeah, I was there for about almost 3 years. So I lasted a bit, and then I transitioned to do finance at an entertainment company. And then now I'm working at a tech company that does accounting software. So still in the realm of the whole accounting finance world, but now I'm in tech, flexing a different skill and working in customer success. So that's been a lot different from the very technical side of things where I was looking at financial statements or forecasting revenues and looking at budgets. So yeah, definitely have come a long way from that. But again, my focus on this video just to talk through the transitions and what I would say really has stood out to me and what I've been able to accomplish in these transitions and what I've learned in the process. So 3 things I kind of wanted to touch upon on that situation that came to me. So the first thing that really stood out to me was not feeling guilty about the decisions I made and thinking about that mindset and framework going forward. So at the time at PwC, which I just at the firm, and when I was at my finance job, I stayed at those companies for a bit. I really tried to make it work for what it was. And I think I learned that an element of me, I shouldn't feel guilty for leaving when something just doesn't work for me. So throughout my processes, for example, when I was at the finance position at the entertainment company, I legitimately did so many informational meetings. I did so many different programs trying to find my fit at this company because I was doing entertainment. I thought that was really cool, the industry, but the finance work was just not it. And when I tell you, I really put my best foot forward to make that happen, and just nothing was still sticking. I had to make the choice that this really wasn't for me at the end of the day, and not feel guilty about the time that I was there and basically making the decision to leave. So that's something that's very relevant now, I think, as I am going to be pursuing career changes potentially. So yeah, not feeling guilty about having to make the decision to leave when it's time to go and you've really tried, and I really tried. So first advice there, reverse tip, insight there. Second one I would say would be not feeling the pressure of all that I have to do in my job once I have made that decision to leave. I think this one really stood out for me when I was in my first job during auditing and I decided to leave the firm. There was just so much work that I was expected to do in my position. And when I had made the decision to leave, I had those feelings of guilt in a way because I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have so much work. And I was putting pressure on myself a little bit to try to get as much done and get it all be wrapped up when it just wasn't going to happen in 2 weeks, you know, like it was a lot of work. So I think I learned very swiftly in that situation that, you know what, they're going to figure it out once I leave, and I shouldn't pressure myself and feel bad about what has been left. People leave all the time in different circumstances, excuse me. So I've left, other people have left, people will continue to leave in the future, so they will figure it out. So yeah. And the last thing I must say, that I think this one really stood out to me more as I was kind of reflecting more on how I'm able to keep certain relationships, is just leaving on a good note. So with each position I've left, I've been told in those both situations that if you ever want to come back, we'd love to have you back. So I think that was a really nice highlight on how I chose to leave, and that really did make me feel good on how I chose to do the process of leaving. And just to kind of talk a little bit more about that, in the positions where I was at and my managers who I worked with, I was very open when I talked about career discussions in regards to, this has been like, I'm learning a lot, but I want something different. I want to explore different things. And my managers, thank goodness, were both supportive of me trying to have that exposure and be seeing different things. And if I met, like I said, I did those informational meetings, so many, if I wanted to do something like that, they were open to me exploring those options. So when I ultimately just didn't find my place, and then I had made the decision to leave for another company, and I told my manager, in both of those situations, they were not surprised when they heard it coming from me, but at the same time, they were super supportive, super happy for me that, you know, you have done what you needed to do, you've been trying, and we appreciate like how much you've done and how you went about wanting to advocate for your career. So at the end of the day, they couldn't be mad at me because I was just being honest about, hey, like this isn't fit for me. What could I do? But I'm still like obviously showing up every day, doing what I need to do. So yeah, I think that's a very key thing that I was able to really acknowledge in my situations for my past jobs, and it's definitely something I want to continue in the future, because I assume there will be other transitions and other ways I'll have to leave jobs potentially, but I definitely want to just keep that impression of just leaving on a good note and knowing that people want me back, like wow. But yeah, so those are some insights that I was able to really reflect on in my time and how I've been transitioning careers. Again, I will be potentially transitioning in the future, so I definitely think these have been things that are helpful, and I'm interested to see what else comes up in the future and how I navigate these different scenarios. But yeah, those are the ones I could call out now. But if you have any other tips or things that you've done through your job transitions, would love to hear. And yeah, that's all I got for today.